What's up, guys? Raziel here again, and today we're going to talk about everything we learned in the live letter for patch 4.5. Now, it was quite a long, very long-winded live letter, so why not just watch this video and I'll point out all the major things that you would probably want to know about what's coming in 4.5. I'll be making a second video, releasing it a bit later today, about the second half of the live letter, which is all about the Blue Mage, so stay tuned for that. But, yeah, let's fucking go.
I am Raziel.
Alright guys, I have my notes here, handy dandy on my next screen. I'm going to go through this. This was, like I said before, this was quite a long live letter. So I'm going to go through the most valuable information I felt, the things that I think really need to be said. This was quite a large patch that's coming in 4.5. It's so large, in fact, that Square announced that it's going to be coming out in 2 increments. So let's just get straight into it. I'll put up some of the slides up on the screen, as you can see here, as we go. So the patch is going to be called a Requiem for Heroes. And they made a kind of a joke of the Warrior of Light dies, and I don't know if they were just screwing around or a joke, but if it's not your character that dies in some way, again, we know that 4.5 is going to really dig into the story and get the ball rolling for how we become Warriors of Darkness in the next expansion, as we saw in the announcement. So we're going to start to see some huge plots take place. He said Requiem for Heroes is going to be very heavy in main story quest type stuff. So I'm really interested to see how that turns out. Part 1 patch 4.5 will be coming out in the first week of January 2019. And then the second half will be March of 2019, and which probably slates the expansion coming out mid-late June to worst case scenario first week of July. So that means there's definitely going to be content to do, and according to 4.5, there's going to be a lot of content to keep us busy. So they did confirm patch 4.5 is the last major patch. Those 2 patches, 4.5 the first half and the second, is the last patch of Stormblood. So yeah, let's get into the elements of patch 4.5. So the first thing they double confirmed here is that Blue Mage is coming in 4.5. It's not coming in 5.0. So that's really cool. We get a chance to play at the job first. I'm not going to go too much into Blue Mage here. That's my next video. I'm going to cover Blue Mage exclusively because they split this live letter in half, and there was about almost an hour on the Blue Mage. So I'll be going over that in a separate video a bit later. So what we do know, what I'll skim over really quickly, is Blue Mage's new job coming in 4.5, and it's going to have exclusive content and instances just for the Blue Mage. But yeah, we'll get into that in my next video. So as you can see in the image right up here, you're probably wondering what that is. If you watch the Final Fantasy XIV Shadowbringers trailer, you will know that this is that area that trailer took place in, one of the places it took place in anyway. And so I'm going to get into what's up there. For right now, it's going to kind of sit in the background. I don't know why I keep pointing in the wrong goddamn direction. Ugh, retarded. Anyway, so guys, as we know, the story is going to ramp up the Garlean Empire and going into Shadowbringers. So in patch 4.5, this is actually a dungeon that's part of the main story quest. We're getting a new dungeon in patch 4.5, and it's going to tie directly into Shadowbringers. So I'm really excited to see that. I mean, this concept art looks fantastic. I'm really excited to see what the story entails for our characters and what the context of this battle with Xenos here in this area is going to be. So let's just keep this up in the background a bit, because I didn't have a shot for every single slide they did, because some of them were really long-winded and not really relevant. So yeah, I'm not gonna make you guys go through all the exact same, because sometimes, especially with the translations that happen during the live letter, it can take a long time. It really slows the live letter down because everything Yoshi P says has to be translated and that kind of thing. But anyway, let's move on. The Four Lords finale will happen during patch 4.5. So we'll get the final 4 lords. There's going to be more Hildebrand adventures, which some of you I'm sure will be really, really excited about. A lot of people really like the Hildebrand quest line. It's kind of a silly little quest line on the side. We're going to get, let's see, this is the new dungeon in the background, as I said earlier, and it's called Gimlet Dark. And they said it's tied directly into the intro to Shadowbringers. Let's move on to the next slide. So, with this next slide, as we already knew, we were getting the final part of Return to Ivelisse in 4.5, and this section of the live letter got me really excited. If you all know, I have a huge boner for Final Fantasy Tactics. It's one of my favorite Final Fantasy games of all time, if not the favorite game, the original Tactics. And we get to go to Orbone Monastery. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Final Fantasy Tactics, Orbone Monastery is where the game of Final Fantasy Tactics began, and it's also where the game ended. And it's a very, very, very awesome location, a very dark location. So we get to go back to the Orbone Monastery, and you could see the excitement in Yoshi P's face, and he said how awesome the final tying up the story is in the new Alliance raid. 24-man Return to Ivelisse. Also, this is also we learned from yesterday. This is where we will get introduced to the new playable race that's going to be coming in Final Fantasy XIV's expansion. So, a lot of really exciting stuff. And I'm going to pull this image up now because he wanted to show us something here. You can see it there. He said there's exclusive gear related to Final Fantasy Tactics and 12 that'll come out. And as you can see, this character has a gunblade, so maybe this is where we get introduced to the whole gunblade idea. It looks like a gunblade though. But this character looks very much, this armor looks very much, in my opinion, like there's a lot of speculation, but Mercutio from Final Fantasy Tactics. So I'm really excited to see what other styles of gear come into play here. Let me throw up another image here for you guys of let's see, is this it? 45. Now this is unrelated to Return to Ivelisse, but I'm just going to say it now. This is you're going to get an exclusive mount if you do the 4 Lords quest. If you've gotten the mount for every of the 3 Lords of the 4 already, if you've farmed it and got the mount, if you get the final mount off the 4th 4 Lord, you get this mount as well, which looks really, really, really fucking cool. So they're rewarding you for farming mounts essentially in 4.5. So yeah, if that's something that interests you, then by all means, I would say keep farming that shit. Keep farming it up. This is the image though that I wanted to show right out of the gate. So this is from the Alliance raid, the 24-man raid. They said, is this Orbone Monastery? To me, they said it's a Final Fantasy Tactics location. I'm guessing by looking at it, right? It's one of two different locations. It's either Igros Castle, which was really close to Orbone Monastery in Final Fantasy Tactics. So, geographically it would make sense that you could go there from Orbone. Or it could be the underground city that is the final level of Final Fantasy Tactics, which is under Orbone Monastery. It's all up to speculation, but this art looks fucking cool. I'm really excited to see. I love the Alliance raids, and Return to Ivelisse has been nothing but gold for me this expansion, with the exception of the rewards haven't always been great, but the content itself is second to none in a lot of other MMOs. So, they did tease something. A major character from the Ivelisse storyline will show up from either Final Fantasy Tactics or 12. I'm guessing Tactics will show up in the Alliance raid, in the final 24-man in the storyline that's there. And if I had to guess, and again this is a shot in the dark, I would be guessing Delita. Some form of Delita shows up, because Delita was such a badass character in Final Fantasy Tactics. But he was the one, if you're unfamiliar with Tactics, a small history lesson, he was the one that was credited for saving the world essentially, and stopping the war in Final Fantasy Tactics. But your character was actually the one who fought the real battle, fought the demons under Orbone Monastery, and saved the actual world, everyone from dying. But Delita kind of got all the credit. He was still a badass, but he kind of got all the credit. So I'm really hoping it ties into him. He's already been mentioned a few times in the 24-man. So yeah, I am really, really excited for Return to Ivelisse. So that's Return to Ivelisse. That's the 24-man stuff that we got. Let's go ahead and move on to the next slide. So in the next slide, let's speed this video up a little bit. 4.5, of course, we're getting a new trial at Seiryu, the Reef of Snakes. And of course, Seiryu, the Reef of Snakes Extreme Mode will be coming in patch 4.5. Let me throw up, they did do some art of what the battle arena looks like. And they did mention that in this, you can see the handrails around the circle, that the handrails will be very, very part of the mechanics for the boss. They hinted at, and they said they would give us more footage in the next live letter in December. So a lot of this stuff is going to be expounded on even more in the next live letter. We're going to get some more details about that. Okay, going to, now this was a little exciting too, and this is going to seem, you know, a little out of the ordinary coming from me. That I think this is good. But we're getting the next section for the Forbidden Land Eureka, the absolute final version of Eureka, Hydatos Expedition. So it is water themed. It is a water based. We've already had fire. We've had like ice. We've had like wind. You know, and so this is going to be water. And yeah, it's going to be interesting. Here's some of the art that comes up. Now, why I said this would be odd coming from me is, as you know, I wasn't a huge fan of Eureka overall. I still have yet to go into Pyros. I'm still grinding out Pagos at this point. I think Pagos is complete shit. Animos was fine. I had no problems with Eureka Animos. People say Pyros is quite good in comparison to Pagos, so I'll give you my opinion on that later once I get through it. But this one is going to be the final installment. Now, why I got a little bit excited about this is they're trying something new. Go figure, an MMO company trying something new. So in Eureka Hydatos is what they call Hydatos, there is going to be a public dungeon raid for when you hit level cap there. So there's going to be a raid within this Eureka where you can, you know, team up with everybody on your Eureka server. And they said in the next live letter they'll go into a lot more details, but he said it's going to be very challenging content, you know, so put your fucking big boy pants on, don't be a bitch, and go in there. And I'm really excited to see what that's going to be like. And I'm sure it's going to be tied into getting your final relic weapon. I'm sure you're going to have to do it. He didn't say that, but I'm sure that you are going to absolutely have to do that to move forward. Next slide. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time with this because, you know, I don't PvP at all in Final Fantasy XIV. Hardly at all. It's very rare. So they're doing more PvP updates. A Rival Wings updated map, and then a map called the Hidden Gorge is going to be added. He didn't go into any detail. I'm sure there's going to be PvP balance changes as well. There usually is in almost every single patch. So as far as, here's a screenshot of the new zone, the new PvP arena. As far as PvP goes, I really hope that they do something in 5.0 to make it more appealing and to fix some of its problems. Because it would be really great if Final Fantasy XIV had PvP that didn't suck ass. But that's just, you know, my opinion. Moving on. So, Gold Saucer is going to get some new updates. There's going to be new content to the Gold Saucer that they're adding. They call it, what's it called? I think I have a screenshot of it here for you guys. Yeah, there's a new gate added, and it's called Air Force One. Essentially, it's a game from Final Fantasy VII where you fly around on an Air Force One mount, going through and shooting targets. It's kind of fun. So, Gold Saucer, they said, is getting some updates for players that like little side games, for shit like that. So, if you're into the Gold Saucer, that's definitely something to look forward to. Now, the next section that they went into, and I'm going to cover it quickly as compared to them, because they explained this like, I'm not even fucking kidding, like 40 times, and it got really, really, really nauseating having them repeat it. So I'm going to go over it very, very quickly. In patch 4.5, and I believe they hinted that this will majorly happen in the second half of 4.5, but we'll see. It wasn't 100% specific. But the world visit system, which was touched on yesterday in the initial presentation, you can essentially visit other worlds. So, and you can you know, go to your Aetheryte in any major city and go to another server on your data center, which will then you can play with friends, and it's pretty much like a free server transfer whenever you want, with limitations though. So I'm going to go into those limitations now because it took them a long time to get to this point in the actual live letter. So, world system restrictions: retainers cannot be hired or summoned while you're on a guest world. Items can't be put up for sale. So anyone who is worried about the markets, you can be fine, and it'll actually balance the markets out. There was quite a few people raging about this in the Twitch feed when it was going on, because they're like, oh, the economy's ruined, because you can actually buy things on other servers. And I think it's actually good, because what it's going to do is it's going to force prices to be equal across all servers eventually. It'll be rough at first, but it's going to ultimately balance out the economy. A good example, when I'm streaming, what I hear a lot when I'm, you know, on my own stream and I'm buying, you know, infusions of strength, and I'm buying food and stuff. A lot of people comment, man, your food or your you know, infusions are so fucking expensive compared to my server, and it's because the server I play on isn't quite as full. So, you know, it's I think this is ultimately going to balance out, because if, you know, someone's trying to overcharge the shit out of you on your home server, you can go to a guest server and buy it there, and eventually it's going to force the people on your home server selling to bring the prices down. So that's really, really, really good. You can't buy apartments or new land. I'm going to move this over a little bit so you can see it. You're not going to be able to buy land or FCs. You know, you can't join an FC while you're on a guest world. You can still access your own FC's chat, but you can't access your FC's features like your buffs and stuff like that. So it gives you incentive to go back to your home worlds. Your cross-world link shells will be fine. You can still talk those, but you can't join link shells on another server. You can only still join link shells on your home world and cross-world link shells. So I'm sure people will be creating cross-world, you know, multiple cross-world link shells for the different servers in the same data centers to compensate for this. So it's not that big of a deal. And again, more on the world visit system here. Eternal bonding ceremonies can't be scheduled or attended on a guest world. Makes sense. Your Moogle delivery service can't be accessed if you're on a guest world. Unspoiled and legendary gathering points for you gatherers. You can't, you know, just go to another server and take them. You can't be utilized. Tickets for the Jumbo Jackpot can't be purchased. You can't purchase tickets on multiple servers and try to jackpot that way. It makes sense. And triple trad tournaments can't be entered. So there's some pretty big restrictions on the other world. I think the main reason they did this way is to avoid ever running into a scenario again like at the start of Stormblood, where everyone was stuck for days on one quest because the servers couldn't handle it. If you're on a super busy server and shit's bad, just go to another server for a while for free and get shit done, and then go back to your home world. Or if you have friends, you can easily just, you know, jump over, play with them, or they can jump over to you, play with them. They did make it clear also that you, let's say you log out on a guest server. When you log back in, you'll still be on the guest server. It doesn't force you back. There's no time limits on how long you can be on other servers. So overall, I think it's a really, really, really good change. It'll be really good for the community. You can make more friends that way. And, you know, well, let's say there's someone who wants to trial raid with you before they maybe completely join your home server and join your FC, you know, do the whole server transfer gig. They can just come over and play with you. So that's it's really, really good and very, very player base friendly in my opinion. So all thumbs up for me. Now this was also announced yesterday, but I'm going to go over it here with 4.5, and this is definitely going to probably be in the second half. Is my guess, the second half in that comes out in March. So the data center expansion. So they said they're adding a new data center in North America called Crystal and a data center in Europe called Light. And then they already showed us how things are going to be reorganized. So me, myself, being on, is going to be affected by this. So let's take a look here. I have the screenshot here. So here is the new organization of the data centers. And it looks like I am on Kirill, so Yeah, I'm going to be moved to the new data center, Crystal. So Crystal, Balmung, Brynhilder, Kirill, Diabolos, Goblin, Malboro, Mattias, and Zelera are all going to be on the Crystal data center. See, Primal is still Behemoth, Excalibur, Exodus, Famfrit, Hyperion, Lamia, Leviathan, and Ultros. And Aether is Edmund, Toys, Cactar, Fairy, Gilgamesh, Genova, Midgardsormr, Sargatanus, and Siren are all on Aether. So I won't be on the Aether server anymore. I will be on the new Crystal server. And they did say they are going to compensate players for this. They didn't want to split people up that like to move around, but you know, especially with the party finder, they were very clear that they spent a lot of time deliberating whether they were going to do this at all or not, because they didn't want to, you know, fuck over their player base, which I very much respect them for going about it that way. They were very apologetic about the whole thing. The European data centers are getting rearranged as such. Before, Europe only had one data center. Now they're going to have two, because they're getting more players, and because they said the language barrier was a little harsher there, because multiple different languages play on the Europe servers because it's closest. So it's going to be organized more towards language that way. So Light is going to be Lich, Odin, Phoenix, Shiva, Zodiark, and they're adding one additional server that's not named yet. And then Chaos is Cerberus, Louisoix, Moogle, Omega, Ragnarok, and they're adding another server for Chaos as well. So it looks like a couple servers got moved out of Chaos into Light. So yeah, Europe is getting some new things as well. And I think it's very good. It shows how healthy the game actually is when you compare what's going on with Final Fantasy XIV with other games on the market right now. So let's go over here. So they are going to be providing relief for people affected by these world distributions. So this is actually the wrong slide, I think. Let me double check here. Part 1, yes, okay. So redistribution is scheduled to be carried out over a 2-week period, so there's probably going to be some downtime on some servers, during which all characters from worlds within an affected data center may use the world transfer service free of charge. So if you're on a server you know is getting moved to a data center you don't want to be on, you can transfer your character for free to any other server, which is absolutely great. Let's go back to that other image that I just missed here. And put up first on accident. But further compensations, additional benefits. So if you do decide to transfer, if you decide, you know what, I don't want to be on this new data center, I don't want, the server I'm on is moving to a data center I don't want to be a part of, so I'm going to transfer to my old data center. You can transfer up to, they're increasing the gil limit, so you can have up to just under 1 billion gil and still transfer just fine. If you own an estate, you will be reimbursed 100% of the original purchase price for the plot, and you will also receive an additional 3 million gil as compensations for all the furnishings you lost in the process. So if you're going to do that, I would say like take like almost everything out of your guild house and then just leave like 1 or 2 items so the game still sees when you transfer those items in there, and you'll get 3 million gil plus your furniture anyway. And if you own an apartment, you will be reimbursed the original amount that you bought it for, and you'll receive 500,000 gil for furnishings lost in the process. So they're refunding all your money essentially, or most of it, if you decide to transfer. So really, really good things here, guys. What are your thoughts on that? Are you going to transfer? I personally am probably just going to stay on Kirill and stay on the new Crystal data center. Once I have a little more information though on the time zones of said data centers, I'll make a decision. But as of right now, I'm staying on Kirill. When it moves over to Crystal, it'll be really interesting to see how all this plays out with world visitation and all this stuff. So guys, this was essentially... looking over my notes, yeah, this is essentially everything in 4.5 that we have details on now outside of the Blue Mage. Again, I'm making another video on the Blue Mage here very soon, so we'll go into that in a lot more detail. But the overall changes coming for 4.5 look really exciting. Again, in the next live letter in December, we're going to get a lot more information on this, and probably more information as well on the Blue Mage. So what are your guys' thoughts and opinions? How do you guys feel about you know, the World Visitation Center? How do you feel about the transfer of servers to new data centers? What do you think of the shit coming in patch 4.5? You know, the Alliance Raid, the new dungeon, the new storylines. I'm super pumped. I'm super excited. There's going to be a lot of content to do, and I got to get on my shit and get caught up on Eureka so that I can, you know, get through Pagos and Pyros and right into the new one when it comes out. So anyway, guys, this has been Raziel. This has been a quick overview, and believe me, if you think, hey man, this wasn't that quick, it's fucking quick, all right, compared to the long-winded actual live letter that I watched and took notes on myself. So thanks for tuning in, guys. It's been Raziel. You'll see my my Twitch and my Twitter links there. Please follow me if you enjoy my content, and like and subscribe if you like it. Hit the little alert bell so you know when my content goes up. It really helps the channel grow and helps me a lot. If you don't want to do that because you think my content sucks, you know, to each your own. That's fine. But no one gives a shit that you exist, so okay, whatever. This has been Raziel, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and I will have the Blue Mage video up really soon. And as always, keep it real.